Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Discover how to create a quantum life, the life of your dreams, in today's session with Dr. Roy Martina. Dr. Roy Martina is passionate about helping millions of people to awaken to their true potential. And he has already impacted more than 2 million people with his books, his courses, and his thought leadership. Now, his whole life has been dedicated to helping millions of people to achieve their full potential and to support people as a medical doctor and holistic doctor and health and success trainer. And his passion is to research the practical applications of quantum science to find ways to manifest the impossible. He says that when we can bridge the gap between science and spirit, we will awaken the quantum sapiens that we are. And he had the honor of working with more than 100,000 people to support humanity to make the shift into the age of quantum awakening, and he can help you as well. And in today's session, let's talk about what's the biggest secret to your success.
That's always, it sounds like there's one key, but I believe that the biggest secret is to have a dream that is so impossible that you don't know how to get there, that you go for it. And I started my career as a martial artist when I was 6 years old, and I learned how to deal with my fears, with failure. So failure for me is not an option, because in martial arts you learn from your failures. Every time you lose, you actually improve, which is the best way to move forward in life. So when you have an impossible dream, you need to find another way that's still outside of your current knowledge. So you have to expand, or I would say to be aware of opportunities that are not logical for you to see. And just to expand, to just put it in a logical way for everyone to understand. When we have a business, we have on one side, we have the outside the business, which is what people see, and then behind is logistics and so on and so on. So we have one side that we call the outer game. The other is the business leader himself needs to master his inner game, and his inner game has to do to believe in yourself. So if you believe in yourself and you know that you can do it, that's the foundation of success. And then comes the third game, and that's the quantum game. The quantum game is mastering the energy, and it begins with knowing that when you master the energy, you can create magic. Magic is nothing else, something that we can yet not explain with science. So if something happens and I seem very lucky, because for most people it seems like I'm lucky, but what they don't see is the invisible way that you communicate with what we call the quantum field. And the quantum field is nothing else than the energy that connects everything. So it's not only in the three-dimensional reality, what we see, but it's also in the invisible realities that we don't see. But everything is connected. And once you know how this works, and a lot of people know about the laws of attraction, but the goal is to become the master of manipulating the energy in such a way that it brings to you what you desire. And in order to do that, you need to first be able to go from being a missionary, what most people are. They have a mission, and they're driven by the mission. And when you're driven by the mission, you also are driven by willpower, which is good. You can be very successful with certain strategies being a missionary. But the next level is being a visionary. So if you look at an Elon Musk, yes, he's a missionary, but more important, he's a visionary. If you look now at Jeff Bezos, yes, he's also a visionary. He's going for the things that are outside of reach of most people. And that becoming a visionary is understanding the loss of energy and start to use the loss of energy in order to manifest that what you want. And everything starts moving more effortlessly. And that's the secret. Yes, we can call it what we want. It's quantum science, but you can call it magic if that pleases you. But we will become more magicians when we can play with the energy. I think that's the biggest secret, that the big people, the ultra rich, often apply. They are masters of energy, and they are very convinced about themselves.
Thank you. And what's your blueprint to becoming an awakened Titan?
Okay, so number one, I think the first step for everyone is to realize that there's no difference between someone else who is a Titan and you. The only difference is that they found a pathway to get there. So one of the things they've done is, of course, study those people, their way of thinking, their way of understanding why they make certain choices, and but also the risk tolerance factor. So if you take a Warren Buffett, he has a very low risk tolerance factor, but he has a vision where things are going. So that's, for example, his success. If you look at Elon Musk has a much higher risk tolerance, but he always creates things that have not been done before because he goes back to the source of the point. Because he doesn't start making cars like other people make cars. Now he starts and going ask himself new questions. How can I make a better car? How can I make the production of a car better? So there are two different questions. One is how to make car better, but the other is how can I make the product in a way that's faster, that's better, and so on and so on. So he analyzes the problem and goes to that. So you can see the different visionaries. But one visionary that always attracted me a lot also is Richard Branson. And Richard Branson, he portrays for me the love of life. He's the adventurer. He tries out new things. He's also taking risk, whatever, but he always does it with a flair. And he actually portrays for me the best way to do business, not becoming the biggest, but for sure having the most fun. Because when you have the most fun, you're doing things that are aligned with your passion. You're doing things that give you energy. And many people are sacrificing their energies in order for success. So if we take, for example, Elon Musk, you see that he works very, very hard. He's running all these businesses at the same time. And if you would ask me the question, would you like to trade with an Elon Musk? I say no. If you ask me, would you like to trade with Richard Branson? I say yes, yesterday. So we need to find the style with us that aligns with what we want to do. As a medical doctor and specialized in holistic medicine, I started out with acupuncture. And acupuncture is a study of how the energies flows in the body. So we can define stress from the acupuncture standpoint of view, very simple. Everything that costs you energy is stress. All right. So if your marriage costs you more energy than you get, it is stress. If your work costs you more energy than you get, it's stress. So the trick that we learn in energy, that when we do not manage our stress, eventually we will get sick because we're out of balance. So when we want to become a titan in any industry, we need a few requirements. Number one in the blueprint is, of course, to find that, I would say, subject, that product that gives you the most joy, the most pleasure. It's the energy of the excitement of being able to be connected to that power. Number two is then the next most important part, is to ask yourself the question, to think outside of the box. So what you do is you look how the most successful people are already in the similar business or in your business, and ask yourself the question, what can I do to change everything, to change the perspective? So let me give you a quick example. Right now, a lot of people are searching for this whole concept of the new world. A lot of people are feeling something is going to change, but nobody can define what. And the spiritual people are talking about all kinds of stuff, about ascension, about karma, about this and about that. And what I am doing is going away from the spiritual approach. I don't want to be in the same box of the spiritual approach. So then you go in the direction of science and you're studying the principles of the energy of attraction. which often is missing in spirituality. And when you look at the principle of attraction, you need to understand one thing only, is if you can manage to live in your vision, to feel your vision, to experience your vision, in quantum science, you are manifesting your vision, because the law of frequency states that the universe really conspires to follow the blueprint of the frequencies, not of what you believe, not about what you do, but the frequencies that you are sending out day and night. Now, the trick is to send out frequencies that are consistent. So that's why it's so important. I take people through the process of first mastering themselves, their own mind. So my mind needs to be aligned 100% with my subconscious mind. If it's not, I will run into programs of my self image, belief in myself, and all kinds of stuff, but also things like my self worth. And self worth is nothing else than another word for upper limit. What is the upper limit of success you tolerate? So if your upper limit in your subconscious mind does not correspond with what your dream is, there is a discrepancy, then you will always sabotage yourself. So the first step that I always do with people who come through my processes is to bring the subconscious mind and the conscious mind in one alignment. So this is the first one. And then we go to the next step. And the next step is, it's a simple question. If everything is possible, and you knew for a full 100% you want to live that dream, what is it that you want? So then you need to go to the real deepest heart desires, because most people have adapted their desires to the level of capacity they think they have to manifest. So you don't go for the big dream, you go for the more closer dream, for the realistic dream. When you go for the realistic dream, automatically you are limiting your potential. So I need a dream that for my conscious mind seems out of my reach in order to maximally activate my potential. Does it make sense? So if I don't have something that pushes me out of the, let's say, the boundaries of what I think is possible, I will always create within what I think is possible. But if I'm pushed out, now I need to again ask new questions and ask myself, okay, for example, the one question I was playing with, and this is a shocker for most people, is I've been playing with the concept how to become a billionaire without a product, without selling something. Everybody tells me it's impossible. All right. So it is truly impossible because you need something. If you study all billionaires, and the exceptions are those that inherit something, but you study most, they had to do something huge and big to break out of the, let's say, the status quo and to go way on quantum level beyond everything that was possible. Now, they did it their way, but in quantum, there's another way. If I can truly master the frequencies of being a billionaire, the opportunities need to come to me in order for me to express that. So I've been through a whole journey of step by step expanding my mind to believe that. And I had to develop certain tools to do so. And one of the tools that I had two tools that are very, very special. One is what they call the quantum awakening. And quantum awakening is stepping into your potential, is truly asking yourself a very honest question. What are my deepest heart desires? What is the life I want to live? Truly, is it to be a multimillionaire? True, admit it. First, you admit it, and then you start with researching how to own it. All right. And so once you own it and you can express it in feelings, because most people are thinking about feelings, but I think only in frequencies. So if I can master the frequencies of the experience in real time, and so for example, when you wake up in the morning, before I step out of bed, I first go to feel the frequencies that are aligned with what my deepest heart desires are. So there are two moments in the day that every business person needs to exploit to the maximum. Number one is the morning when you wake up. Why? Because when you wake up, and I will tell you later on how you're going to sleep, you're coming out of a frequency of sleep that is aligned with your dream. So that's the moment that you are most aligned with that frequency. So now you need to continue the way that you were dreaming by now creating in your mind today that you want to experience. So every day is an opportunity for new creation. So every day I send out the message that I'm ready to receive the right people, the right opportunities, the right chances, and so on. So I open myself up to receive. So we need to learn to constantly keep expanding instead of just say this is enough. And it's not about greed. Greed is something different. Greed is more about money, success, and power. This is about your potential that you're awakening. So I want people to awaken into potential. And the only way to awaken potential is every morning to expand more into it. And then when you go at night to sleep, you look back at the day and you ask yourself the question, when were there moments that things went exactly the way that I want to feel? Those are the moments that you reinforce in yourself. You pat yourself on the back for experiencing that. And then you ask yourself the question, which were the moments where I was out of sync with who I want to be? And those moments you go back and I call it editing. It's like playing the video and say, I'm going to change this video. I'm going to change it and tweak it until it feels that's the way I want to do it. And why is this so important? It's important because our biggest enemy in success is the way our brain is wired. Our brain is wired based on mainly the first 7 years of our life. It's been wired with certain habits, certain beliefs, certain ways to react to emotions, certain fears. So that first 7 years create or limitations, create our upper limit, because in the first 7 years, we establish a baseline of what is norm, and our environment is the norm that we grow up in. So that's our baseline. That's our baseline of success. We can break through it, but not much. Or we have to have a lot of pain. Pain is rocket fuel. So I grew up in a family of 8. We had one toilet, one shower. And then each morning I would wake up very, very early in order to be the first to go to the bathroom. And I remember I was 5 and I was frustrated because I was knocking on the door. And at that moment, I created a vision. When I grow up, I want to live in a house where I have a choice of toilets. So guess what? I just sold the house in what's it, Asheville, California. No, Asheville, North Carolina, where I lived for almost 10 years. And there I had 8 toilets. So my feeling of abundance was toilets. Can you imagine that? But that's what gives me that feeling of being wealthy. And so for everyone, the pain can be the rocket fuel to take you out of your upper limit as well, if you align with a desire that that's what you want to create. And then later on you discover, yes, I've created it, and that came from the pain. So that's possible. But the other part is just to know that your potential is much greater than you can ever believe, and to start opening it step by step and step. And for that, we have this program, Quantum Awakening, where it is very personal. I will guide you through the process using your name, and also do what we call a little connection on with you, because I can read your soul signature. This sounds a little bit woo-woo, but it's years of training as a medical doctor, that a person who comes into my practice will say certain things and certain things not. And the things they not say is exactly what they need in order to find the cure. So, for example, they might be ashamed of a sexual abuse. They might be ashamed of the relationship with a partner where they might be, I don't know, hypnotized, abused, whatever. The things not said are more important than things said. So I had to develop this keen awareness when certain people didn't say certain things. And then you need to develop the skill set to ask the right question. And then, so for example, out of the blue, you can say, what is it between you and your father that gives you so much pain? And then the person is shocked because they didn't expect that to happen. And then you can get into the core, and then you can create a maximum healing of the person, because they attracted that situation for them to learn something from it, not to just suffer. If you just suffer, it was a lost opportunity. So those skills I bring back into the coaching. So what is not said is more important than that's what's said. So the body language is what you look at, not the words. The words are what tries to deceive you, but when you learn to understand the body language, you can go deep. So that's quantum awakening. And then next to that, I have the Quantum Life app, and the Quantum Life is actually my the baby I'm most proud of, because this is I had so much success working with vision boards, right? And I didn't understand how that worked. Why would a vision board, give such a success? And then I understood that what was important with the vision board was the idea that the subconscious mind is just seeing that, and you're creating a new base of not in a language, not in words, but in a vision. And remember, becoming a visionary is the power. It is that the word is important, but the vision is number one, because the vision is the idea. So I had enormous success with vision boards, even attracting, the love of my life, attracting business opportunities. I've been in the same hotel as Oprah Winfrey. I met some billionaires, stuff like that, all because of a vision board. And then I said, how can we do this better? And that was the combination of specific frequencies, frequencies that are frequencies aligned with abundance. That's very important. Abundance is not only about money, abundance is about joy, it's about pleasure. If we have an abundance of pleasure, we create with magic. If we create from willpower, we create from force. See, so the willpower is forcing the creation, while when we work the subconscious with frequencies, affirmations spoken a certain way, a certain, I would say, visuals, you are in a full immersion. And we have created the app in such a way that you can quickly make several types of movies. We call them from 10, 15 minutes up to 8 hours. And the 8 hours one, we don't use to watch, we use for the background. Because one time we listened to it during the night. We then, for example, I listen to it during my, whenever I'm working time, it's always in the background. And that create a new baseline. And that's what people need to understand. You want to surround you with the symbols of the life that you want to create. It has to be everywhere. From the moment, if you're a man, you start shaving, you already need to be there. You need, and in the beginning, I was working with post-it notes. Put them on where you shave, and remember to smile, remember to do this. And sooner or later, you've rewired your brain, and now you know you can do it. You still don't know how, but the fact that you're convinced that it is within your reach creates the flow for which the opportunities and synchronicity starts hitting you in at a speed that you don't even think is possible. That was a short answer to the blueprint. Sorry about that.
Thank you. And how do you create this energy to manifest your quantum life so you can be a visionary and achieve everything you want to achieve in life?
Okay. Well, first thing, as a doctor, I have to say everything that costs us energy shortens our life. Okay, so this is good to remember. So if you're doing something and it's making you tired, it's making you not happy, then you're sacrificing. Now you're in the pathway of sacrifice. That doesn't mean that sacrifice cannot lead to huge success, but that type of sacrifice always comes with a price. And the question is, are you willing to pay the price? Right? So I call it, just is a way of playing with words as the price of getting things to forcing. It forced the life out of you. And then you have the second thing, once you reach the point, you have trained yourself so long to forcing you on your way that most people cannot even relax anymore. They keep on going. And some people get into the energy of greed. And the energy of greed is not never having enough. So that means you've always been pushing and going and going. There's always more. There's always the next piece of gold and whatever. And that never gives you rest. All right. So when you create from pleasure, when pleasure is your blueprint of creation, this is the most important part, is that you get energy from the process of creating. So that we call the power of attraction. So most people are chasing, But what you want is to have the power of attraction. And I call it to become the God that you are. Because if you define the God that creates from light, it has to be pleasure. If you would define the devil, it will be creating from pain. So I always ask my clients, do you want a pact with the devil, pay a price for your success, or do you want to make a pact with the power inside of you, which is light? It's a metaphorical, it's not about that, but it's for making people really understand, are you wanting and willing to sacrifice? And the book I'm writing right now that will come out next year, because we're in the last process of that, is The Secret of the Lazy Billionaire. It is not the secret of becoming a billionaire, it's the secret of the lazy billionaire. And that represents in itself the power of attraction. And in that, I will explain how this has created the opportunities that in the end I can say now I am a billionaire, and I've done it without the forcing that people have done. And so by next year we're ready to come out with this message. But the basics of that creation was a quantum awakening and the quantum life app to structure the brain to really believe in your own potential. That I would say is a secret. And if we go back now to the titans that were role models for me. Each one has their own specific power. Elon Musk, the power of the visionary. Richard Branson, the power of playing, the power of having fun, the joie de vivre, as they say in France. And Jeff Bezos is just to go from a bookworm and to turn that into, I would say, something so big. And now when you see him, he pulls back, and now he's spending all his time for his hobbies, the things that give him pleasure. So he made all the stuff he need to do to right now go into the next level of creation. And that's more the quantum level. And yeah, so that's fun to see those role models and how they go through life and what you can learn from them. And I hope that one day I will be a role model for many to do it in a new way into the quantum way. And that's what I want to start next year when they come out with that book.
Thank you. What I've found very interesting is that from a very young age, I loved having fun. And I really believed that it was my role in this life to have fun. And almost like I have this motto of do nothing and make money, but that doesn't necessarily mean literally do nothing and make money. It just means do something that makes you happy, so much so that it feels like you're doing nothing. Mm-hmm. Is that part of your concept of become a lazy billionaire, in the sense of follow your passion and then the energy will follow, your vision will come, the right opportunities will be attracted to you? Is that part of this kind of same motto that you have?
Yeah, you're saying it perfectly right. So you're talking about the pleasure. So the pleasure is the power of creation. When we look at people, when they create from fear, from scarcity, they will stay in those fears and scarcity no matter what they create. So it is the quality of life that's important that you create. How can you create something consciously if it's coming from fear? Right? It should be coming from the pleasure to moving towards that. And where we're moving towards with all the tools that we have nowadays with social media and all of the noise out there, what becomes more important is the frequency of authenticity. And especially, you'll be competing in the future with AI. Can AI be as authentic as you are? Can AI do you? For a certain part, maybe AI can do certain things I can do. But my frequency, my energy, there's no AI that can copy that. So that is what we need to do. And when we talk about that kind of creation, it is effortless. When it's effortless, it never feels like work. Work is when you're doing something. Here you're having fun. I'm having fun all day. I'm creating with so much pleasure that it doesn't feel like it's work. And I have I can say for me, the creation is like a hobby that pays. I have a pleasure from doing my hobby. I come up with new ideas out of the field that are not mine, literally, because I'm connected to the field. I just pass it on, which is effortless. And then I have attracted a team that is great in marketing and social media to out the game. I don't ever worry with that because I have a very simple rule for success, and I call it the 3 Ds. The number 1 D is do what you only you can do. All right, don't try to do things that another can do as good as you or better. Do only what is specifically you to do. What makes you you is that what you're going to do, nothing else. The second thing is to become a master in delegation, to have a group of people, attract the right group of people that are totally aligned with your message and your vision, that they don't need a really long explanation. They just know what to do. And you need to learn the art of letting go. And that's to delete everything that doesn't give you energy or doesn't give you pleasure. When you follow these 3 Ds, you have your blueprint for success because your uniqueness is your power, not that what other people do. It is your message. Now, for some people, that uniqueness can be only the frequency. If you have pleasure doing something, and even if you're invisible, frequencies work all the time because frequencies are invisible. They don't even have to see you. We've done research where we have two the same websites. One, we did all kinds of magic rituals and call it spiritual stuff, just as an experiment where we were bombarding it with frequencies with our intention. And then the website that was basically used without frequencies, first 200 frequencies outmatched with the same message, 2 to 1, to one without the frequencies. That is the invisible. When we master the invisible, we have another level of creation with us. And the most people know this level as synchronicity. But synchronicity is not by chance, it is by law. It is that synchronicity follows energy's frequency. So you either are living in a movie where you have one synchronicity after the other, which is a proof that you are on the path to manifesting your desires. If you're lacking synchronicity in your life, if things go too slow or with too much resistance, you are not in the right frequencies of manifesting. So the way life responds to you is direct feedback for your frequencies. That's all you need to remember.
Thank you. And how do you go from a job you hate into this frequency of love, joy, and manifestation? How do you reach there? If you still have to do your job, and is it that you just have to find something else that you do like, or what do you have to do?
All right. So that is a question that has different levels to it. So, for example, you're stuck in a job because you do not see that you have other capabilities. So you only say, this is the only thing I can do, which is a total limitation of what you are. All right. So you've limited from all your potential, limited in one way of giving service. And that's the way to give service. Let's even say if that's true, okay, that is not a way. There's only one position on the whole planet, and that's the position you have. And if you let it go, you're doomed. Let's take that scenario. That could be the feeling that some people have. Because of that feeling, they will never let go of the job because the fear of not having sustenance is greater than the fear of that dreadful job that you're having. So if you're stuck in a job where you feel a lot of resistance, you can use that as a personal journey to go into that process of letting go your resistance. Because I need to find what am I grateful for in this job. It could be one colleague. It could be the fact that I get paid and I can live in this house. So now I need to focus on the good of the job, not on the bad side of the job. And then on the bad side of the job, that's what gives me stress. It is my responsibility to change that. Not of my, let's say, not of my boss. My boss doesn't need to change. If I'm stuck in that job, I need to change. In French, they say it, I don't speak French, but they say, if you don't have what you love what you have. And that's a process you need to learn. You need to learn, how can I love this? And what happens, and I worked with people who were stuck like that. I even had someone who at some point was a friend, and he was working for a tax office from the government, and he hated his job because he couldn't say no. So I coached him how to say no, And once he started saying no, he got promoted. So that was the consequence of standing in his power to be clear on his boundaries. So for him, that was the quantum leap needed in order to release that resistance to the job. So if you think you cannot change, which I believe is not that, that's one thing. Then you have the second option. You have a job right now, but do you want to be in this job 5 years from now? And if the answer is no, then you need to start planning, what am I going to do 5 years from now? What are my passions? And from all the passions that I have, which passion can I now make into a business that can pay me? And so I will now be, even though I keep my job, now I need to invest into what I want. And that will be the next step. And those are the two ways that have helped a lot of people to really first make peace with their job, in the meantime start working on what is the next gift that you want to bring into the world. How would you want like to be of service in a way that will reward you with the kind of income that you want? And that's also the reason why we train a lot of people to become coaches, because coaching has become now very fashionable and very trendy, because the people have been realized that coaching is not only for sports. I mean, I come from sports and I coach people to world championships and get somebody who's become world champions. I coach over 80 national champions in Mexico. So in sports, coaching is normal to get the best out of me in a sport. But why do we only limit it to sports? Why don't we open it to life? Why don't we open it to what we're doing? So there's still a big need for coaches. And in coaching, right now we have actually two ways. One I call the old way, the old school. Nothing wrong with that. The old school is focusing on what is going wrong and going through that, asking you the question, what I'm learning. And the new school is more tapping right away into your potential. And that's why we use the techniques of quantum. And the techniques we're doing is quantum timeline jumping. We bring you in the field of all possibilities in infinity to that point in infinity where you're the happiest, where you're the best version of yourself. And then we teach you how to observe that first, so that you get input from observing and to feeling. And second, we teach you how to have a dialogue with that future. And the third level, how to merge with that future, which we call quantum entanglement, and how to bring those frequencies back into the now and to hold those frequencies. And that's where the quantum science will become the new way of coaching, because it's the faster way to bring people to their ultimate potential, while the old way is still working within the safety zones of the mind, what is realistic and possible. Nothing wrong with that. But when we look at what I call the Tony Robbins in this world, the people who have reached tremendous success, but at a tremendous price. I predicted what would happen with Tony in 1998, that he will be burnt out, that he will not be able to teach 12 hours a day anymore, and that he will go through a lot of physical problems. And all of that is true. And Tony cannot teach anymore with that power. He even calls himself the force of nature. Huge success. And I respect him. He changed my life. There's nothing I'm saying about Tony that is about disrespect, but I'm looking through the eyes of a holistic doctor. And that's the power. That is the power where you do it from willpower. And then where we're going now, the shift of the world is going to flow, to go into the power of the quantum field, to learning the laws of manifestation and creation, and then align ourselves with those laws. And that is effortless. And as a doctor, that I would recommend to all my clients and patients, because even in healing, we apply the same principles. If you have whatever disease in you, and I can let you connect to that place of healing in the infinite field of possibilities, and I can have you entangled with that, which I've done for myself. I had two lower discs that were totally wasted, they were gone. And this is in 2012. And I didn't have the knowledge how to grow back cartilage. Never in my life, in my 40 years of career, at the time 35 years career, did someone come with that problem. because people think if it's gone, wear and tear, it's over. So my patients never came with that problem. So I was confronted with the first time with a problem I've never treated in anyone else. And then I had to start with a new journey. And that's how I came into quantum. I needed to go to a place in infinity where my cartilage was restored. And then you come into the science of stem cells. I discovered how to create my own stem cells, how to activate that. And now I can walk without pain for hours before I could walk longer than 10 minutes. So even in healing, we will shift more into frequencies, right? We are creating a beautiful music with frequencies that are also healing, a pleasure to listen to, but in the meantime, you're being aligned with the blueprints of healing. So that's the new science that we will start to measure actually also next year, that we want to show to the world that this can really, really work, that we can create health in even cases that are impossible. I just spoke with a colleague of mine from my island of birth, Curacao, and he is now healing people on dialysis, which is impossible. Once you get the label, your kidneys are destroyed, you need to do dialysis. Now the insurance company is paying him to take people out of dialysis. So this is the new science that is coming. It's all based on quantum frequencies. And once we can show that with the hard science of the three-dimensional reality, because proof is just showing that it works, and then more and more people will follow. So my first job is to show that you can create effortlessly. Once we do that, then people know the impossible is possible, and then we get the same effect we also had, for example, in running. Once a person crossed the 4 minute run of the mile, then all of a sudden a lot of people can do it because now we are open to believe it. So in that, I am super happy to be the thought leader in creating something that's not been created before, and to be able to describe the pathway to that creation so more people can follow that pathway. And again, it's not about money, it's about manifesting your dream by connecting to your potential, and then everything becomes within your reach.
Thank you. And what's your legacy message to those who want to manifest health, abundance, love, joy, anything?
All right. So I would say that we all now have a choice in life. And the choice is, are we continuing the old way of doing things? And if we look at the world, we see the results of the old way of doing things. It's right in our face. We can discuss a lot of things. You can say climate change is not real. But one thing is real, is that the amount of pollution we're creating. That is real. We are destroying our environment we're living in with poisons. As a result, we will get more disease. We have more depression. We have more suicide. We have more cancer. We're getting more disease. That is the old way of doing things. And we can blame it on the elite. We can blame it on the cabal. We can blame it on anything. But the question is, what are you doing? And the choice that you have to make now is to change your perception of life. And it's not, we are not here in pursuit of an illusion of success. We are in pursuit of our own true happiness. And when we are in true pursuit of our happiness, we will create coming from that happiness. That's the message. So instead of pushing ourselves and trying to prove that we can do it, it is more working on ourselves to align with our potential and to have more pleasure in our lives. And here's the message I conclude with as a doctor, is that if we look now at the statistics of the people who live the longest, we will discover something very peculiar. Is that it's not people doing the most yoga, the most meditation, the most visualization, the most chanting of ohms, or the people who have the most money, or the vegetarians, or the people who don't drink alcohol, the people who go to the gym every day, or the people who are, supplementing themselves through the roof with so much supplements. And they are not the people who live the longest. The people who live the longest are the people who are most relaxed about life. So go figure. The woman who lived the longest, Jean Calment, lived 122 years and 134 days. I studied her. And what I came to the conclusion with are two most important things. Number one, as French call it, the joie de vivre, the joy of life was her number one thing. And the second one was the power of her to let go. That she never got stuck in the past. She was constantly coming back into the now. And that, with just living her life as she pleases. She smoked for 80 years. Okay. She drank wine. She never did yoga. She never went to the gym. So that is a secret. Secret is enjoying life and letting go. And when we create success based on those two principles, which I call it the 3Ds, then success will follow. And it's not just following your passion. It is also being very clear on what you allow and what you don't allow. And when you're clear on what you allow, then you can better follow your passion. Then, because often in following your passion, we make mistakes. All my mistakes I made in business was coming from my passion, right? So I was so fulfilled with passion, I did not always make logical business decisions. So the left brain and the right brain cannot be out of balance. I cannot be successful if I don't also learn about financial intelligence. Because if I learn about financial intelligence, I will make smart investments. And if I make smart investment, the money will work better for me and I will have more pleasure and I can create more. I can have bigger impact. So I can be more relaxed. I'm not in fear and struggle anymore. So we follow these principles, then we will live longer, but also have more pleasure and the quality of life will be much more. And that's the legacy I want to leave from what I've studied as being a doctor. And when I tell people, I'm 70 years old and I have the feeling I'm just beginning, a lot of people look at me like there's something wrong with me. You should slow down. I said, how can I slow down in having so much pleasure? I can't. I just want to have the pleasure. And that's what keeps the creative force flowing. And then you understand it's not about age, it's about energy. And energy is about having the right frequency that are giving you life force. And when we follow those principles, we can create in a ways that only gives us so much fun and pleasure, but also more quality of life. And I think that's the only way to live my life. And I hope many others will follow that as well.
I love what you said about quantum life and quantum awakening and how we can manifest our dreams. For those wanting more, all you have to do is go to the description box and find out more information and connect with Dr. Roy Martina for mind-blowing tips about how you too can manifest the life of your dreams. Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.